Okay, and we're on the air. This is the OSRA client meeting for Sunday, January 18th, 2015. Here from the client side, we have Tarek and Ahmed, and from the dev team, we have Brian, Modusum, and myself. So I think Tarek and Ahmed let's go straight to you. How are you getting on with the application? Anything you can tell us about it? Anything that you would like to discuss at this point?
Actually, we started to use the application. We tried almost all the features that have been implemented so far. Everything is going fine, and we have updated you with anything comes on my mind all the way, like for making the client, making the agent, filling the agent mandatory, like we posted it, and all the way we are keeping you posted.
Okay. So our question at this point then is, if the product we've delivered, if that functionality, everything seems to be well, then what are your feelings about basically when we should start development on phase one? Is this something, would you like to still kind of stabilize with what we have currently before we start expanding the application significantly, or are you ready for it now? And there is no pressure from our side at all. We have other things that we can do in the meantime, so if you choose to wait, we're okay to wait, or vice versa.
One thing, we have we almost entered like 10% of the information we have, or maybe less. Would you recommend that we go on and keep using the application, enter more data, maybe finish the data first, or would you recommend that we continue with phase one? Because so far it's okay, it's totally fine.
Okay. Brian, what are your thoughts on this? I'm curious.
Yeah, that's a difficult question.
I think if we think about it differently, like phase one will provide new features, for example, the orphan card. Is that something that you guys are, for example, what's the time frame that you expect you would need this functionality to be? And then we can work backwards from there. So if you need the orphan card as soon as possible, then definitely you have to start from phase one. If not, if you can live without that functionality, for example, and you can concentrate all of your efforts on just entering the data and make sure that the whole database is populated with everything you need going forward, then that's not a priority and we can leave that for later.
Actually, entering the data is taking much more time than we expected, because getting the data from Syria is really hard. The communication is very bad, and it's a problem. So we thought that it would take us less time to enter the data, but apparently it would take time. So
so this is new data, or is like existing data in Excel sheets you're just moving?
Actually, this is the same data we used to have, but most of the data was missing. A lot of data was missing, and we are trying to make sure not to enter data into the application until we make sure it's almost complete. So we have been trying to get the data at the time we were working on the application, and still we are now. So
for example,
I think it would take time. If we waited till we finished the data, I think it would. Yeah, it would take time.
But on the other hand, it doesn't sound like you are in a big rush to have, for example, orphan cards implemented. If you don't have all of the data, is that a priority? Or maybe we should talk about different stories. What do you see as the next priority for you for the application, and what kind of a time frame do you think that would fall into?
The first, we have. I think if we want to go with the cards, we have to implement the uploading pictures first.
Okay.
So actually, if there is something we really need right now is exporting the information with a nice Excel sheet. This is something we might need, for instance.
Okay.
Because each month we export those information, and we send them to our team in Syria, so they could distribute the money according to them.
Okay. So the export functionality is more important at this point than the orphan cards, for example.
Because actually we can still make the orphan cards manually. Okay.
But exporting also relies on the data being in the database. So if you don't enter the data to begin with, then there is no point in having the export functionality.
Right.
Okay. So perhaps at this point in time, maybe what we can do is let's think about what phase 1 would contain. What kind of features are the most important for you now that you've been using the application for a bit? What do you see as the most important features for immediate development? And this is something that you don't need to come up right now on the spot. Definitely, this is something that you can update us with as you proceed. And then once we have a good list, once we have some clear idea of what priorities are, then maybe we can first of all sit down and discuss how you envision each one of these features being implemented, what exactly the functionality is, and then we will have a clear idea of what phase 1 will contain.
I just have a small question. Didn't we work on something similar to this before?
On something similar to what, sorry?
Putting the features we need in priorities, like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
So are your priorities the same then? They haven't changed?
If we could take a second look on them, we might give some feedbacks.
Okay. So what we can do is we have a list of the priorities and the phases that were assigned originally. So we can forward that to you, and you can review that and maybe reassign priorities if you see that necessary, and also add any features that have become important or that have appeared. Maybe we hadn't thought of them initially. And I don't know. I think if anybody has different ideas, then please share them. I'm just thinking about it right now, since we don't have a clear list of features that we would like to plan for phase 1. Then maybe this all this can happen during the week. During next week, we will send you the list, and you will send us your thoughts and updates on it. And then at the next week's client meeting, we can discuss the specifics. Well, alternatively, what you're saying, if uploading orphan pictures, sorry, no, that wasn't the thing. If exporting, if you know exactly that this is important, this is something that you need for sure, and this is probably one of the first things that you need, then we can we can discuss right now how you would like to have that feature implemented, and we can start working on it right away.
You mean now?
Well, it's up to you. If you would like I said, if you would like to just give this some thought, and then we can have a better plan, or if you know that this is a key feature that you need as soon as possible, the decision is yours, basically.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, we can postpone the discussion until next week.
Okay. I think it would be much better if we could take another look on the list we already have
Mm-hmm.
on the list of the features to be implemented, and we will give you the we will try to give it right away. We will give you the our feedback on them for your.
Okay. Okay, so we'll send you that list with the original sort of priorities, and then if everything looks clear, then at the next client meeting we can discuss those features in detail and discuss how they should be implemented. Does that sounds okay?
Yes.
Okay. Dev team, does anybody have anything for the client? No? Well, in that case, Raneem and Tariq Ahmed, thank you for joining us today, and please keep using the application, and please keep giving us feedback.
I just. Okay. Thank you very much.
If you have something, please share.
No. We will talk about next week.
Okay. Okay. Well, in that case, again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in a week.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Do we have anything to talk about? Brian?
Yep.
Nothing much from my side.
Yeah, the cucumber step definitions?
Yeah, right. Yeah, point taken. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was my understanding that this was supposed to be like integration testing, and basically everything that Cucumber does is something that the end user should be able to do. So it's the way it's written, it kind of looks like a unit test to me.
Well, if you go right to the beginning, to the very first step, so this is this is, I'm sorry, I have a brain freeze right now. We're talking about the sponsorship instruction, right? So if you go to the very first step in sponsorship steps, you'll see that the way we implement it is, in fact, not by using the web interface, but through factories, etc. Which, I'm not defending that approach. I'm just saying that this is essentially how the entire Cucumber suite is set up, is that unless we're specifically testing creation of a user, creation of a record or editing of a record, unless that is the focus of the test, then the setup for the tests happens using Factory Girl.
We wouldn't just teleport it to the step definition that sets that up? using the UI?
Well, basically, yeah, we do the setup, whatever is the most efficient way, and then we go to the UI to test that particular bit of functionality that's under test.
The other thing, I guess, about the Cucumber, and I know that's how it is now, but I thought that Cucumber feature files were really supposed to be a feature and not a whole section of the app. That's not at all what we have now, but
So you mean basically just one feature per file, and
well, yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd have one feature, one feature, one background, and then scenarios for like happy, sad, maybe an edge case, and
Yeah.
then that's a whole file.
I think there is good value in that, so we can implement that approach in our HQ features.
Yeah, okay, that was going to be my second question. Do you want to match what we have and do it on the other side like that?
No, not at all.
What?
No, I prefer not to match it. I would prefer to have, a sponsorship creation feature, sponsorship inactivation feature, sponsorship destruction feature, whatever.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I think too, but do you think we should backport it to this namespace or just do it that way in the new namespace?
I don't really see a lot of value, I guess, at this point. Massaging the active admin portions.
Yeah, I don't really either, because we're going to have to do this story in the other namespace, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, considering that everything Cucumber-wise is being written from scratch for the HQ portion, then yeah, I don't see any reason to invest in the AA.
Okay. That's kind of where I'm at.
All right. But, I don't want this to be a unilateral decision. Perhaps we should discuss it in a meeting with more developers tomorrow. Anything else, guys?
No, nothing from me.
Yeah. And Pavel, how's it going there? Pavel is probably doing his household chores while listening to our hangout. All right. Well, in that case, see you tomorrow. Tomorrow should be our retrospective meeting. Sprint 9 is closing. And possibly, depending on the time, even our planning meeting for Sprint 10. But we'll see tomorrow. Okay? All right. See you guys tomorrow.
See you.
All right. Bye.